Okay, here we go. Right. Yep, I think it's on the live stream. All right. Shalom, everyone, and I'm sorry about my stupid. Come on, man. Killing me here, camera. You're really killing me here. All right. Sorry, everyone. While I fix my camera here, we're going to try to. Yeah, I didn't feel that was going to happen. We're going to be starting our study for tonight. It's called Sabaoth, Heaven's Armies. The phrase, the title, Heaven's Armies, I used to see a lot of the times referring to Yahuwah, specifically Yahusha, pre-incarnate. He's known as Yahuwah of Heaven's Armies multiple times in the Tanakh and the Old Testament. So we're going to be looking at certain verses that the Masoretes have tried to omit that phrase, Sabaoth scriptures. So there's 11 instances that this has happened. So we're going to be looking at all these different instances here. So, and by the way, if you got Strong's on you, if you're using the My Sword, E-Sword, or what have it, you can find the Greek equivalent to Sabaoth. It's Strong's number G4519 in the Thayer's Greek lexicon. Okay, so be nice if this would stop glitching so much. That'd be really nice. Thank you very much. All right. And just bear with me, guys. I'm going to try to fix this camera issue here real quick. Just see here. Really, I don't even know why there's an issue to begin with. All right, here we go. I got the camera working again. Let's hopefully this camera will stop doing that. That'd be great. Okay. Let's get the camera back on now. All right. And okay. What is going on?
You don't really need your camera roll because you're going to be using the screen. Oh, hallelujah. Sorry, everybody. I think Doug got disconnected for a moment. Shabbat Shalom, Sister Sadia. Dora.
All right, nothing's easy tonight. All right. Okay. All right, we're back. See here, let me try to get. No, I did not want recording to the cloud. Where's the live thing? We don't have a live thing here. That's weird. They used to have it.
It's
All right,
already
we're back
live.
on. All right, cool. Hey everyone, sorry about that. My computer had to restart for updates purposes, so I'll be using my phone right now for our study here. So let's get the shared screen back on here. Sorry about that, guys. We'll be resuming this study that we just started a couple of moments ago. So I'm going to be going on the document really quick. Try to get this shared screen going. Trying to make this, okay, start now. All right. Okay, so let's see here. Stupid thing, why is it doing that? I guess it's trying to figure out if I want to be on the share screen for some reason. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. Here. All right. My share audio is on now. So give me a second, guys. Let me just get this up and running here. All right. So good thing about Google Docs here is I can search a document pretty quickly here. All right. So let's get back on here. Okay, so again, the study is called Sabaoth of Armies. 11 times it's omitted from the Masoretic text. We're not going to be going in a particular order here. So let's start off at Joshua chapter 6, verse 17. So let me just, okay, so let's see here. I don't have my stuff set up here. So what I'll do for you guys is I'll probably be reading from a physical scriptures. I don't know why it keeps sliding there. I don't know why it keeps doing that. We're going to be reading from a physical scriptures here, so I won't even need to put a shared screen on actually. I don't have my app set up yet. So let me just go to Joshua chapter 6 here. And let's see here. So Joshua chapter 6. All right, so let's see here. So 6. Okay, here we go. All right, so let me go back to the document here. I just need to see where exactly I'm going to be reading from here from chapter 6. Okay. And all right, so chapter 6, verse 17. So in the Septuagint reads follow in Joshua chapter 6, verse 17. All right, it reads, and the city itself will be cursed. Okay, and the city itself will be cursed, and everything as much as is in it is for Yahuwah Sabaoth. Now, if you go to a Masoretic text Bible, which, you know, you have the ISR, King James, NLT, pretty much any other version of the Tanakh in the Septuagint.
Just for reference sake, because it's the nearest Masoretic text Old Testament Bible I had near me, I'll be using the NLT here for chapter 6, verse 17. Okay, so, and see here. So, Jericho and everything in it must be completely destroyed as an offering to Yahuwah. And that's it. So here's the first place where the term Sabaoth is completely omitted. All right, so again, so that's just the first of the 11 cross references we're going to be going to. So the next one we're going to be going to is 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 20. Okay, so 1 Samuel 1:20. Right. Okay. And feel free to follow along, everyone who's viewing and listening in. Please correct me if I made a mistake with any of these cross references as I'm going to go through them. Okay. So, let's see here. All right, so, okay. All right. Continue. All right, just give me a second, guys, to get there to 1 Samuel 1:20. Okay, so we'll be reading. I'll use the Masoretic text version first. 1 Samuel 1:20. By the time of next year's sacrifice, Hannah had become pregnant and bore a son. She named him Samuel because she had said, I asked Yahuwah for him. Okay, so if we go to the LXX version, interestingly enough, this verse is not just missing Sabaoth, it's missing Elohim also. So the LXX version of 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 20 would read as follows. And it became to pass when the time was come that she brought forth a son and called his name Samuel and said, because I asked him of Yahuwah Elohim of Sabaoth. So basically, in layman's terms, the full name and title Yahuwah is being given here, which I believe this is pointing out Yahusha here, because it's calling him Yahuwah Elohim of Heaven's Armies. Now, obviously, those of us that have read Revelations 19 tons of times, who is the one riding on a horse that's commanding all of Heaven's armies? Yahusha. So I just find that interesting. The Masoretes decided, oh, let's take out the word Elohim and let's take out the word Sabaoth in that verse, just so people don't get that connection is talking about Yahusha in 1 Samuel 1:20. I just find that interesting. So moving on. Now we're going to go to Isaiah 5, chapter 5, verse 25. So Isaiah chapter 5, verse 25. So Isaiah 5:25 reads, therefore the displeasure of Yahuwah has burned against his people, and he stretches out his hand against them and strikes them, and the mountains tremble, and their carcass is as filth in the middle of the streets. With all this, his displeasure has not turned back, and his hand is still stretched out. Well, at least the Masoretic text talks about his hand in this verse. But what's interesting here is the LXX reads as, in the same verse of Isaiah chapter 5, verse 25, therefore Yahuwah of Sabaoth was greatly angered against his people, and he reached forth his hand upon them and smote them, and the mountains were troubled, and their carcasses were as dung in the midst of the way. Yet for all this, his anger has not been turned away, but his hand is yet raised. So what's interesting here, especially those that don't want to believe in the deity of Messiah,
what they'll say is, well, Yahusha's just a tool of Yahuwah. He's his hand. He's just his tool. But what's interesting here is in the Septuagint version is actually mentioning Yahusha is the one being angry, and he's stretching forth his hand in his anger, in his wrath. So I find that interesting. So there's the Septuagint version of Isaiah 5:25, in my opinion, is more pro oneness than the Masoretic. The Masoretic makes it look like his hand is just a tool being used. It's just, extension of him, or however people want to put it. So I just find that interesting. Isaiah chapter 7. So we're going to go 2 chapters later here. We're staying in Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 7, verse 7 here. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So here we go. Isaiah 7, verse 7. I think we'll start in the Masoretic text version here. Thus says Adon Yahuwah, it shall not stand, neither shall it come to pass. So the problem you have here is, especially those of us that have a version key to the Strongs, like on the My Sword or the E Sword, you'll see here the Masoretes slickly added in here sovereign, which is actually Adonai. They're very slick. Whenever you have in your translation sovereign or master before the all caps Lord, it's an addition of Adonai or Adon, which would not be there in the original Hebrew Tanakh. It would have just originally said Yahuwah, or in this case, in the Septuagint, it says Yahuwah of Sabaoth. Thus says Yahuwah of armies, this counsel shall not abide, nor come to pass. That's how the LXX reads it. So the Masoretes decided, we're going to take out the word Sabaoth at the end, and we're going to add Adon or Adonai in front of the Tetragrammaton. So that's what they did there. Let's see here. And we got Isaiah 22:17. All right, so we're going to go to Isaiah 22:17 here. Behold now, Yahuwah of armies cast forth and will destroy such a man, and will take away your robe and your esteemed crown. So the LXX of Isaiah 22 verse 17 reads, Yahuwah of armies will utterly destroy such a man. Now, if we go to the Masoretic text version of it, it says, behold, Yahuwah will carry you away with a mighty captivity. So the Masoretes decided again to omit the phrase Sabaoth, which is referring to heaven's armies. All right, so the next cross-reference we have is Isaiah 23, verse 11. He stretched out his hand. So now I'm reading the Masoretic text first here. This is Isaiah chapter 23, verse 11. It says, and he stretched out his hand over the sea. He shook the kingdoms. Who has given a commandment against the merchant city to destroy the strongholds thereof. Now, if you go to the Septuagint, it says, and your hand prevails no more by sea, which troubles kings. Yahuwah of Sabaoth, or Yahuwah of armies, has given a command concerning Canaan to destroy the strength thereof. So again, the Septuagint is indicating that the phrase Sabaoth should be in that verse, in verse 11 there. Okay, so now we're going to move on to chapter 45 in Isaiah. Chapter 45, verse 14. And again, we're going to read the Masoretic version first. This is what Yahuwah says. The prophet of Egypt and the revenue of Ethiopia, along with the Sabians, those tall men will be brought to you and become yours. They will walk behind you coming along in chains, they will bow down to you and pray to you. Truly, Elohim is with you. He has no peer. There is no other Elohim. Now, if we go to the Septuagint version of that same verse, it will read, thus says Yahuwah of armies, Egypt has labored for you, and the merchandise of Ethiopians and the Sabians and men of stature shall pass over to you, and shall be your servants. They shall follow after you, bound in fetters, and shall pass over to you, and shall do obeisance to you, make supplication to you, because Elohim is in you, and there's no Elohim besides thee. And I think who is in italics, so probably it doesn't say that really in the Greek. It will just say there's no Elohim besides you. Okay, so let's move on to the next cross-reference here. Now we're going to be going to the book of 1 Kings. 1 Kings 17, verse 1. And again, we have a problem here because not just Sabaoth is missing, but it seems that Elohim is also missing, if I'm not mistaken. But let me just double check. No, Elohim's there. My bad, I'll correct myself. Elohim is in the Hebrew there. Okay. So starting first with the Masoretic of 1 Kings chapter 17, verse 1. And Eliyahu the Tishbite of the inhabitants of Gilead said to Ahab, as Yahuwah the Elohim of Yasharal lives, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, except by my word. Now, if you go to the Septuagint version, it says, and Eliyahu the prophet, the Tishbite of the Teshbe of Gilead, said to Ahab, as Yahuwah Elohim of armies, or Sabaoth, the Elohim of Yisrael, lives, before who I stand, there shall not be these years dew nor rain, except by the word of my mouth. So actually, yeah, Elohim is omitted once there in the text. So it's not just Sabaoth that's omitted, it's Elohim of Sabaoth is omitted from the text there. So that's interesting. So that was 1 Kings chapter 17, verse 1. The next cross-reference we have is 2 Kings 19, verse 20. Okay, so we'll start with the Masoretic first again. Isaiah, son of Amos, sent this message to Hezekiah. This is what Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal says. I have heard your prayer concerning King Sennacherib of Assyria. So that's the Masoretic version of 2 Kings chapter 19, verse 20. Now let's go to the Septuagint. And Isaiah, son of Amos, said to Hezekiah, saying, thus says Yahuwah, Elohim of armies, the Elohim of Yasharal, I have heard your prayer to me concerning Sennacherib, king of the Assyrians. Okay, so that was 2 Kings chapter 19, verse 20. Okay, so we're going to be moving on to Isaiah 42, verse 13. So Isaiah 42, 13. And I'll be reading from the Masoretic text first. It says, Yahuwah will go out like a mighty man. He will stir up zeal like a man of war. He will raise a war cry. Yes, he will shout aloud. He will triumph over his enemies. So that is Isaiah chapter 42, verse 13 of the Masoretic. Now let's go to the Septuagint real quick. Same verse here. It says, Yahuwah, Elohim of armies, shall go forth and crush the war. He shall stir up jealousy and shall shout mightily against his enemies. Okay. So the last cross-reference we have here is Isaiah chapter 54, verse 5. Okay, let's start with the Masoretic again first. Okay, it says, for your husband is your creator, Yahuwah of armies is his name, and the set apart one of Yasharal is your redeemer. The Elohim of the whole earth shall he be called. Okay. Now let's look at the Septuagint. It says, for Yahuwah that made you, Yahuwah of armies. So the Septuagint version of Isaiah 54:5 says, Yahuwah of armies is his name. He that delivered you, he is the Elohim of Yasharel, and shall be called by the whole earth. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of this short, brief study. So I just figured that this is a study that will kind of introduce people to the Septuagint, kind of give them just a little bit of a taste of the importance of the manuscript that pretty much the disciples would have been using, and all of that, and why it's so important to be testing different versions of the Old Testament. I know usually we grew up thinking, every version of the Tanakh, every version of the Old Testament is the same, but as you can see here, this is 11 different times these Masoretic scribes decided, oh, let's take out this Hebrew word Sabaoth, and let's just take it out. And to me, it seems very obvious. I don't have full proof to say this as doctrine, but I believe they did it on purpose to take Yahusha out of the text, because even they would understand that Yahusha, when he came to earth, was claiming to be this pre-incarnate messenger of Yahuwah, Yahuwah of angelic armies and all that. They would have understood who Yahusha was claiming to be. And definitely those that believed in the Brit Hadashah, those that were the writers of the Brit Hadashah, knew who this person, Yahuwah Sabaoth, was. When that, especially there's a distinction in the text of the Tanakh when Sabaoth follows the Tetragrammaton, that it's making a distinction, rather than just the Tetragrammaton by itself. You'll see certain verses in the text have that Hebrew title after Yahuwah's name. Go ahead, Brother Joshua. I see you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Sorry, I had to plug in my headphones because you can't
Oh, it's
hear me
okay.
for whatever reason. I don't know if that's one of those second to last ones. Let me see. History. Can you go back to that list?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, never
Was it
mind. It
one of
was
the
second.
Isaiah?
No, actually, it was Second Kings 19:20.
Okay.
Yahuwah, Aluav, Yasharal. I don't know if you had it, if you mentioned it, but the Masoretic is not only missing of hosts, but it's also missing the second Alua.
Yeah.
Okay. You did mention it?
Yeah. I had to correct myself twice. I thought that it was there for the first time, so I corrected myself the first time, that I had to correct myself again. Because it's worded weird in the English. It's like you don't realize that it's like what they did was they took out Alua of armies, or Alua Sabaoth, and they kept in Alua of Yisrael, or Yasharal is what happened in that verse. So yeah, it's very confusing, the way the Masoretes did it in that verse. But yeah, multiple times, to Brother Joshua's point, it's not just Sabaoth they're taking out Alua a couple of times. Elohim, they're taking out actually the title that precedes Yahuwah's name many different times in the scriptures, probably because they realize it's pointing to the oneness, that you have this commander of the armies, who's mentioned in the book of Joshua as this person that's speaking as the creator. In context, he's calling himself the creator, and they're trying to take away any type of oneness these scribes are trying to take any oneness away from Yahuwah and Yahusha that they can. So they're probably taking away that phrase because they realize that in the text there's a distinction. So when usually it's the personification of Abba, most of the time it will be just Yahuwah. But then when you have the other side of the oneness, the Son, Yahusha speaking, Alua always seems to proceed after the Tetragrammaton, or it will be like Yahuwah Sabaoth. It will always have like a title proceeding after it. And it seems like it's very purposeful what they did there. So from what I'm seeing, it's not like, oh, they made a mistake, because they did this 11 different times. So obviously they're trying to take something out, just like we've done other studies before where the Masoretes have, I forget how many times in the book of Psalms, hallelujah is omitted in the Masoretic text. I think it's like at least close to 20 different times throughout the whole book of Psalms. So this is like the same type of thing. It's purposeful why these scribes did it. Was some type of doctrine they held on to. So yeah, very important. So again, I hope this was a baraka for those that were involved with this study, that listened into the study, watched the study. As I say always, read your scriptures, read for yourself, test all things, test what we're presenting to you, and hopefully this was a good introduction to those brothers and sisters we have out there wondering why we're reading the Septuagint. This is one of the reasons I hold the Septuagint in such high regard, is the veneration of Yahusha pre-incarnate in the Septuagint version of the Tanakh. And it shows that what the apostles believed, it was very easy for them to accept what Yahusha was claiming to be because of the version of the Tanakh they had in their time period. It was very obvious who Yahusha was claiming himself to be. So anyway, so hopefully this was an edifying study for all those involved. I pray this study was a baraka to you and all of our brothers and sisters. Just want to say Shabbat Shalom. Have a great rest of your Sabbath, and Lila Tov.